thanks some opponents. Without him, there not such wonderful game. Wonderful game.
Many people can relate to the love for the wonderful game, but what more does it take to reach the very top? This is the story of Ma Long, the best to ever do it. The first time Ma Long introduced himself to the world was in 2006 at the World Team Championships. At just 17 years old, Ma Long became the youngest world champion ever. He wasn't just playing amongst legends, he was beating them. But while the Chinese media began calling him the future of table tennis, there was a problem. He still had a lot to prove in singles. He was far from complete. His early performances earned him a spot at his first singles world championships in 2007. Ma Long entered the tournament as the 8th seed. The opening matches, they were easy, but in the round of 16, the legendary defender Yu Se-hook was too strong, winning 4-2. At 18, Ma Long had come a long way already, but the gap was clear. He didn't yet have the experience to beat the very best. Still, it was at this stage that things really started to take off. From 2007 to 2011, Ma Long began to dominate the world tour. He rose to world number 1. To many, he was close to unstoppable. On paper, he was the best in the world. On the biggest stage, he couldn't deliver. In both the 2009 and 2011 World Championships, he reached the semi-finals. Twice, he was stopped by Wang Hao. The critics began to whisper, he's great in small tournaments, but he'll never win the big one. For an athlete in China, that kind of doubt can crush a career, and worse was coming. The 2012 London Olympics, the biggest stage in sports. Everyone expected Ma Long to finally prove himself. But when China announced its single squad, his name wasn't there. Instead, the spots went to Wang Hao and Zhang Yike. Ma Long was the world number 1, but not trusted to play. It was humiliating. For most players, that kind of blow ends a career. But for Ma Long, it became fuel. He made himself a promise. One day, I'll be so good, they'll never dare to leave me out again. After London, Ma Long entered a new phase. He didn't just play, he destroyed. He collected tour wins, like trading cards. But in 2013, at the World Championships, it happened again. Another semi-final, another loss, once more to Wang Hao. Nevertheless, this was just a minor setback before the great run. 2014 World Team Championships, unbeaten, 24 straight games won. But the one missing piece, a single world title, still haunted him. Finally, in 2015, everything changed. In Suzhou, China, at the World Championships, Ma Long reached the final at last. After nearly a decade of waiting, he held the trophy. It wasn't just victory, it was freedom. The can't win the big one label was gone. Now, all eyes. Now, all eyes turned to Rio 2016. This was his ultimate test. The pressure, immense. The rival, Zhang Yike, Olympic champion, national hero, the rock star of table tennis. And yet, in the final, Ma Long didn't just beat him, he crushed him 4-0. It was the changing of the guard. For the first time, Ma Long stood at the very top of the sport, and he wasn't letting go. From 2012 to 2017, Ma Long built a streak unlike anything the sport had seen. 1,695 days. Almost 5 years without losing to a player outside of China. Think about that. Nearly 5 years, every opponent, every continent, every tournament beaten. It wasn't just dominance, it was perfection. 2017 World Championships, Düsseldorf. In the final, to the two giants, Ma Long and his new rival, Fan Zhendong. It was as close to a 50-50 as it gets. Fan played the match of his life. But to beat Ma Long, you can't just win once. You have to beat him again and again in the same match. Otherwise, he always rises. The decider, 12-10 to Ma Long. A statement. Not yet, I'm still the best. But when you can't be beaten, the only thing that can stop you is injury. His knee problems from the previous season started to crawl back. Slowly, it got worse and worse. In August 2018, after losing to Liam Pitchford, he knew he couldn't push through anymore. Surgery, recovery, time away. This time, He didn't rush. The goal was Tokyo 2020. March 2019. After 7 months away, Ma Long returned at the Qatar Open. At over 30 years old and after a serious injury, many thought his career was about to slow down. But Ma Long isn't ordinary, he's born a winner. And just like that, he was back, crushing everyone, lifting the trophy, reminding the world the dragon still breathes. At the World Championships, just 2 weeks later, he entered as only the 11th seed. By the semifinals, he had dropped just 3 games. He beat Liang Yikun 4-1, then Matthias Falk 4-1 in the final. 3 straight World Championships, a record never seen before, a record that may never be touched again. By now, his status as the greatest of all time was secured, but one more challenge remained. Tokyo 2020. Delayed by the pandemic, played in empty arenas. At 33 years old, many thought this was a step too far. But Ma Long once again proved them wrong. He won his 2nd straight Olympic gold in singles, the first man in history to ever do it. Back-to-back Olympic champion. And in the final, he beat Fan Shendong again. The perfect ending. After Tokyo, every match felt like a gift. Fans knew they were watching the last years of a legend. He didn't win another World Championships. He didn't play singles at the Paris Olympics in 2024. But he still lifted titles, still showed flashes of dominance, and still stood as one of the very best in the world. More importantly, he found a new role, captain of the national team, a mentor, a role model for the next generation. And then, at the end of 2024, Ma Long withdrew from the ITTF World Rankings. 2 decades of world domination had finally come to an end. From the boy who got rejected to the man setting an example for how the wonderful game should be played. This is Ma Long, the greatest player of all time, and you'll never see table tennis like this again.
And finally, I think everyone has their own way. I just hope to do well in mine.